There is a name on the Shaanxi road that innkeepers lowered their voices to avoid. Painted skin. The first widow who spoke it to me touched the cold paper screen and said a face could hang on flesh the way wet silk hangs on a bamboo frame. I walked west from Xi'an in late autumn when the millet stood cut and the ditch water smelled of iron. Farm smoke lay flat over the fields. At dusk, the temple bells travelled farther than dogs barking. And every willow by the road looked dressed in mourning. Beyond the market towns, the road bent toward low graves, ruined shrines, and hostels with soot-black rafters. I slept one night near a magistrate's post station where frost whitened the courtyard tiles. Before dawn, bamboo clacked in the wind like dry bones striking each other. Among readers of Liaozhai Zhiyi, the thing was called painted skin, Hua Pi. The words were plain, almost domestic, as if naming a craft. In roadside speech, I also heard painted hide, borrowed face, and beauty robe. Each one said softly, with lips barely parted. An herbal seller in Tongzhou told me older men linked it with Yao that dressed themselves in human appearance. A monk near Huazhou called it a skin-wearing ghost. In other tellings, it was neither ghost nor fox. Only a hungry thing, clever with hands, and patient with glue. The first full account came to me from a schoolmaster who copied old stories by lamplight. He set the year in the early Qing, under the Shunji reign. A scholar named Wang met a young woman fleeing hardship before sunrise, her sleeves damp with dew. He asked why she hurried alone. She wept and told of a cruel household and a marriage she could not bear. The schoolmaster repeated her words with shame in his throat. Outside his room, bean curds steamed in the lane, and the air smelled faintly sour. Wang hid her in an empty chamber of his house. His wife disliked the arrangement and kept silent. A Taoist he later met on the street stopped, stared hard, and said Wang's home carried an unclean presence. The scholar laughed, hearing only market noise and mule bells. The next morning, Wang peered through the half-open door and saw what the old text preserves. A green-faced demon sat at a table. Human skin lay spread beside it. With a brush, it painted color onto the skin and lifted the woman's face over its own. That was the sign most often repeated to me. Beauty arrived alone, before dawn, carrying no bundle fit for travel and no dust on her hem. Her grief sounded ready. Her hands stayed warm, even in morning frost. Dogs whined at thresholds and would not cross. Another sign concerned the room itself. Servants said the chamber of such a guest felt stale by noon, as if windows had stayed shut for years. Powder, musk, and something raw mingled in the air. Flies gathered at the paper lattice, though no food had been brought inside. I heard also of the eyes. In lamplight, they looked tender, lowered, wet with fear. In oblique light, they flattened like pigment on lacquer. An old woman in Weinan told me that if a wick guttered blue beside such a face, nobody in the house slept. Names were handled carefully. One did not praise the stranger's beauty aloud. One did not ask a hidden woman to uncover her face before the household shrine. Most of all, one did not answer if soft knocking came from an unused room. In Shandong, I heard a sterner version. There the demon favored scholars preparing for examinations and entered homes by offering copied poems. Muleteers said the skin was hung on a wall peg at night, like a travel cloak. Their inns kept garlic and peachwood nearby. A Fujian boatman gave me a coastal telling in which the wearer was found combing her hair before a bronze mirror, and the mirror showed only a pallid mask floating in darkness. Yet a Jiangnan reader insisted the being cast a reflection. The horror lay in the brushwork seams. Some recited the ending with the Taoist driving the thing away. Others held that Wang died after his heart was torn out, and only through filthy humiliation and a beggar madman's breath was life pushed back into him. In every province, listeners lowered their voices at that part. The oldest written account I held in my hands was in Liaozhai Zhiyi, Pu Songling's Strange Tales from a Chinese Studio. I read it by oil lamp in a borrowed room. The paper smelled of dust and paste, and the copied characters leaned like reeds in rain. Beyond Pu Songling, older Chinese writings, such as Su Shenji, kept many accounts of spirits that borrowed shape, stole vigor, or crossed the threshold through desire. Painted Skin stood later in that long habit of fear. The face changed. The appetite remained recognizable across centuries. What the road taught me was simple. Witnesses rarely remembered the demon first. They remembered the ordinary things around it. A door bar lifted at dawn. A bowl gone untouched. Rouge scent over a damp quilt. Terror stayed longest, where the household had almost looked normal. I have carried this telling from inn to ferry, and from temple step to winter fire. What name do you not speak after dark? Type it once.